Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, and welcome to a new week of new opportunities. Plenty to talk about today as the weeklies do close last night. So we got higher term timeframes closing, also lower term timeframes, plenty to talk about there as well. So with that said, I would like to wish you the best, and the happiest in this most sincere way on this lovely Monday morning. Yeah, Monday morning. That's right. This video being recorded a little bit later in my morning, 7:30 a.m. If that clock over there is correct, which I believe it is. Anyways, more importantly, do I have any announcements? Yeah, I do actually. I'll be on Twitch later today, same time, same place, kind of. but it's actually been a really good combination between Cyberpunk and some Bitcoin action. They seem to go together rather well. Anyways, with that said, let's put the focus over here on the Krown Chain application, which we found at app.krownchain.net. And what do we see? Bitcoin dominance heading, actually kind of sticking around the same sort of range. Once again, 63.5%, kind of also in between there, and 63% even, of which we've been seeing it steadily rise over the last couple of weeks, while Bitcoin essentially trades sideways, which does put a little bit of a nail in the narrative that we are seeing rotations as we once saw, similar to like 2017, where Bitcoin, when it's consolidating, altcoins would usually get a chance to party versus the Satoshi pairing. In this case right here, we actually don't see that. Altcoins taking it on the chin for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, while Bitcoin is more or less sideways in a massive range. Looking at open interest, we do see that it actually popped up a little bit from yesterday to today as well, kind of holding in the overall structure though. And with that said, I still want to see a break above the $3.25 billion mark on open interest, correlated with a break on price action, whether it be above the structure at 19,550 or below the structure at our last higher low somewhere at about mid $17,000 region. That is for the market to decide, but more importantly, if and when that does happen, that would be a damn good indication that we are going to see a major, massive move in line with a lot of the other metrics that we do see in the market. Also, fear and greed index popping up to a 95. So once again, the highest read that we've seen since recording this data. If we go over here into the actual charts themselves, see what these fucking Blue Jays are up to this morning. And yeah, once again, 95, which is the highest read that we've seen over the past year, actually. Now, I believe it has gotten higher a couple times in Bitcoin's history, but still, this is not actionable in and of itself, as we've been saying. It's more or less a periphery warning signal, but it needs to be combined with, at least a few other market dynamics, and then most importantly, fucking price action, of course. At the end of the day, price action trumps all, and until we actually do break structure, I wouldn't be putting such significant weight on this. However, that would imply, say, price action does break structure to the downside in this case, while fear and greed index is printing incredibly greedy, extreme greed reads, like that, the highest that we've seen in quite some time, then yes, that would be a damn good for a, maybe not a macro reversal, but certainly a high term time frame reversal, of which we'd probably play out, a month or two, maybe even 3 of sideways and down. With that said, funny rate over here, what do we see anything out of the ordinary? Creeping up a little bit, yes, creeping up a little bit. However, not anything that's too crazy. I see FTX at 0.06%, still a little bit further away from that critical 0.1% region. And most other exchanges actually much lower than that. Bybit, BitMEX, Huobi, and Binance all around 0.01%. So still, at the end of the day, the devil's in the details, and there's not really anything too crazy going on right there. What I do see though is that the futures premium over spot price action is actually continuing to increase, which is rather interesting because it would suggest that market maker, or not necessarily market makers, but the market in general is pricing in a bias to the upside here. So with that said, let's go into the actual price action charts themselves and see what we got today. Let me just make sure that I'm recording. I am recording. The microphone's working as well. That's good. Very happy about that. And what do we see over here? Yes, Bitcoin on the weekly, and this is secondary charts as we've been kind of referencing a lot more recently here. Now, I do want to put the focus on the topside Krown band here, which is currently coming in around 20,500, which actually would be that next targeted region that we do see for a short-term trade if Bitcoin does break the top side of the structure right here, which we can do 2 ways. The first way is the easiest and less aggressive way, we'll call it. And that'd be just taking out the prior wick high of this run, which is currently the all-time high on this price action as well. On GDAX, that would be 19,915 and 14 cents. If you go over here to BitMEX, what do we see? We see 19,958. They're going to be around the same area, but do keep that in mind. If that were to happen, then yes, I would be looking for the next $600 move to the upside. On the other case, I do want to see a break of structure on a closure 4 hour above 19,550, same area that we spoke about over the last couple of weeks, actually, or a daily above, I think it was like 19,450, but we'll look at that soon enough. Anyways, as we are right here, do we see anything on our other tools? No, not anything too much of particular interest here on the weekly. What about on a daily? Do we see any of these signals starting to populate themselves? No, but they certainly are starting to etch themselves in. So this is right here. We have plenty of things going on in actually daily MACD and more importantly on structure here as well. So first and foremost, obviously Bitcoin putting in a higher low over the weekend. That is significant in and of itself. Trend is your friend, and at the end of the day, we do have higher highs and higher lows. So this would be an uptrend, and this would be first and foremost a bullish reaccumulation formation in the context of of an ascending triangle. Essentially, I'll just do a very bad drawing right here, but there you go, boom and boom, lovely. Okay, and at the end of the day, I really dislike the whole sort of pattern trading narrative that like just because a fucking pattern is a pattern, like it's destined to do something. No, I've seen every goddamn pattern breakout every possible way that you can ever imagine. However, the areas of interest here, that is what is executable, at least in my opinion, as far as trading goes. So that means above structure right here or below structure right here. And there is a psychology implied with this as well. I mean, basically, what are we looking at as Bitcoin trades side within a range, a very large range that is? Well, it would suggest that the market is getting more and more aggressive with buying the dips. So that means that people are accumulating. If people are accumulating at this level right here, what's more likely to happen? Probably break out to the upside. Doesn't mean that it's guaranteed, just mean that's more likely. Statistically speaking, that is. And I believe it's somewhere in like the upper 60% region, which is good enough as an edge. I mean, you got to be thinking in terms of like standard deviations and whatnot. 68% would be the first standard deviation. So, if you have a probability of that, then that's actually pretty damn good. Anyways, looking at it right here, there are a few interesting things going on in our other indicators on this chart. And first and foremost, we do see that MACD on the daily does have hidden bullish divergence, printing lower lows on the histogram, while price action puts in higher lows from 17,100 all the way up to basically like 18,000, we'll call it right here. And that would be a little bit more on the bullish side. Now, I would say that the easy part of that divergence play already did happen. We identified this on the RSI 2 days ago on the 12-hour 2.5 days ago, and I'd say that that's mostly played out. Maybe another small move up to like 19.5, but I mean, yesterday we got up to 19.450 on stream. That was that's pretty fucking close, man. I wouldn't really put too much more on it. So here's what I really want to see, and if I do see this, I would be very comfortable with targeting moves into the maybe $22,000 or $23,000 range. So if we do see a break of structure here, which in this case, do we need to use the high of this at 19.7, or could we lower it down right here? I think that you actually could get away with lowering it down right here because this area is being respected a little bit more often on Bitcoin price action, and that's the 19.450ish region. So I do stay with that. And if Bitcoin does break back above there, either with a wick higher than our current high on this run, or a closure above this region right here, which would be 19.450 once again, then I want to see the MACD cross the upside. If that happens, we have a perfect signal actually. And if you reference the reverse MACD video that I posted, I think last week, this would be a really fucking good example of structure being broken, plus momentum also just turning up as well. And then the next thing I'd want to see is the DMI plus remain dominant, which currently it is, plus the ADX start to point back up again as well. If that happens, I'd be very, 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 very confident or very comfortable, I would say, putting on risk and looking for a move, not just to the proverbial target of this measure move right here, which depending upon how you kind of like plot it, it's gonna be probably in like around like $22,000. But I'd probably be looking for that to actually beget some more continuation on top of that. Now, of course, I'd want to see these things, happen in real time. But as it is right now, we are starting to see a pathways forwards, and that is what I do think is most interesting to kind of potentially even happen this week. Now, with that said, do I think that Bitcoin's going to just absolutely fucking green deal its way, even though this is having a more or less bullish bias on this formation? Well, no, actually, no, I don't. In fact, what I'd actually be looking more likely to happen is short term, I'd actually be looking for Bitcoin to come back down, test around the 20 simple on the 200 bands right here, and fill the gap on CMEs. Now, does it need to fill the gap perfectly? No. There's a good question about this yesterday night from Mr. Santa in the Discord, and he was asking, would this be a professional gap if Bitcoin, opens up basically at the mid $19,000 region? And the answer is yes, it would be. However, with a potential professional gap like this, it means that we probably come back down to like 18.6 or 18.7. We don't come all the way back down to the high of Friday's open, which was 18.4, pretty damn close. Anyways, And then I'll be looking for things to get picked up right there. But short term, that would imply a little bit of a downside move. So with that said, let's go into the actual to our regular charts over here. Let's go down to our lower term time frames. Or actually, should we stay on CMEs a little bit more? Yeah, I do find that CMEs. Let's get rid of this as well. This is not relevant to what I'm looking at right now. I do find that CMEs on Monday, especially, are a lot more trustworthy. And looking at it right here, a little bit of a short-term rejection off the edge of the bullish control zone. Now, this is long-term constructive and long-term good, but short-term that would imply a little bit more downside pressure. On top of that, we see 4-hour Stokes popping back up here, actually getting out of the bearish control zone, which is rather good. And historical volatility percentile is redlining. So that does make me think that with historical volatility percentile getting that red right now, it does imply that probably Bitcoin does play out a little bit more of a sideways consolidation within this region, and that, as far as structure goes, could very easily come back down to the high of this area right here. And actually, this is nice because this chart is pretty much barren, and this is essentially what I'd be looking at right now. The two biggest areas of interest are going to be this one right here for CMEs at 19,720, and this one right here, basically on the last prior higher low, which would be 17. Let's just call it 17,700, right? So as long as we're playing between there, there's no resolution on structure, but that also does mean that anywhere above or anywhere below, especially on a closure, we're going to see big bad moves of price action. To the downside, we're talking multi-$1,000 moves. To the upside, we're talking multi-$1,000 moves, probably even more than that. But as it is right now, I would have a little bit of a short-term downside bias, and then look for things to get picked up. Long-term, still bullish. As we've been saying, all higher-term timeframes are bullish. I feel like I have to repeat this every fucking video because I can I try my best to get my words out properly, but I also understand that I'm certainly not the best communicator of all time. So fair enough. But shout out to all the people out there who can decipher my fucking my silly version of English apparently. Anyways, yes, short term, I'll be looking for this one to come back down at the very least a little bit below $19,000, but probably down to 19.7 or 19.6. At which point I'd be looking for a short term bounce and then game on once again. I'd want to see it in real time after that though, because here's the next piece of information. If Bitcoin does on CMEs close below, let's call it 18.7, I would look for this price action to come all the way back down and fulfill that gap once again fully at 18,100. Do I think that that's most likely to happen? Probably not, no, but that's what I would be looking for if this area were to break. For now, just short term down, and I'll be looking for a bounce somewhere around this region right here. Let's go see what things look like on spot price action for a second. And yeah, pretty much the same actually. Short term, a little bit of sideways here, probably does pop up extremely short term, but I still do think that it does come back down to fulfill this area, which would be on spot. That would be about 18.6, 18.7 as well. So they're about in the same area. And of course, if that area does fail, I'd be looking for a full-on move back down to $18,000 base. Let's actually get rid of this one right here because it's not so relevant to what I'm talking about right now. And this one right here, same thing. So let's go to the 4-hour and see what our momentum oscillator is looking like right here. We do see 4-hour Stokes, nice and angled to the downside. I'm curious what Caretaker has to say about that. Do we have anything of interest, of note on this? And yes, momentum will remain to the downside essentially as long as we are below 19.4. Not very helpful right there because that's that's kind of like the current closing high on this last little rally as well, but fair enough. I suppose it is useful in and of itself. And 4-hour RSI getting rejected from the bullish control zone as it is right now. Again, long term, very good. However, short term, that would imply that we do come back down somewhere around the middle of the neutral zone. And looking at everything else, again, I do think that things come down here, but I'm not. Again, that does not make me bearish. Just makes me a little bit short term, looking for some downside. And if things do fail, then yeah, probably Bitcoin comes back down and stabs somewhere around $18,000. That's also where the 200 simple moving average is right here. But again, I'd look at that as an opportunity. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and you should probably not even be listening to this. Yeah, there we go. All right, so that should clear everything up. Anyways, 3-hour Stokes over here, nose diving as well. Same thing in line with the 4-hour. Same thing on 3-hour RSI. So it's good that we see the confluences here. We don't always see that, especially coming off of a weekend, but when we do, it's typically going to move in that direction as we move down the lower term timeframes, going into a bi-hourly right now. Bi-hourly Stokes, all nose diving. Bi-hourly RSI actually even did have a little bit of hidden bullish divergence there, which that certainly played. Oh my God, man, what the fuck? 18.9 all the way up to 19.350. Jesus Christ, on a bi-hourly, that's something right there. Historical volatility percentile very low here though, so we are looking at a move probably around New York Stock Exchange open at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'd want to see this come down a little bit more. You can see that this is more or less in a nice orderly consolidation here. or not necessarily consolidation, but contraction phase. And we probably do have a move, yeah, somewhere in this region right here, very, very likely. So later today, yes, I'm looking for a move to the top or the bottom side of the medium-term time frame range, which to the upside, that would be, 19.5 basically. To the downside, that would be like 18.6, 18.7. And I do think that we get that move sometime today, actually. Looking at the hourly, or at least it's relatively likely, hourly Stokes popping back down as well. Hourly RSI, same thing, and hourly HVP actually kind of expanding from a low level as well. But most importantly here, we do see that all lower term timeframes are essentially printing the same thing. So we do have good confluence between all of them. Again, we don't always see that, but when we do, it is a good sign that more of that is to come. And in this case right here, I'd probably be looking for things to go maybe a little more sideways, maybe even give another try back up towards 19.3. But I don't think that Bitcoin's ready to actually give a legitimate try to break the top side of this range. And if that happens, then I'd be looking for a rejection, maybe somewhere around yesterday's high, and then come back down and then game on, as we said. Hopefully that happens somewhere around the Twitch stream, because that would be cool to actually see on air, and then we can actually judge it going forwards from there. Anyways, let's see. Let's go to the 12-hour now. Let's see what we got on the medium-term time frames, and same thing here. So, again, long-term, very good price action, very fucking good price action. 12-hour Stokes are popping back up, but keep in mind that we do have this trend line. Oh, I guess I already have it in there, coming in from the last few highs, actually. Hey, god damn it. There you go. Coming in right at the top side of the bullish control zone. So yes, does that imply that we kind of come back up to that, and then maybe rejection, come back down and fill a little bit? Yeah, probably yes. And do we see any fibs in line with that as well? Let's actually do this as a let's actually do this in a little bit more of an aggressive way right here. Yeah, we can do it like that, and then do you like that. Okay, sweet. And how would we populate this as, if you are going to be looking at this as an ascending triangle, then what would your measure move be? It'd be something like this, boom. And yes, it'd be right at this horizontal right here in the $22,000 region. But an aggressive measure on that would actually suggest a target way higher, actually, at about 23,000. No. Yes. 23,000. Yep, that would be about right. All right, so fair enough. Anyways, put this back on over here. Sorry, that's getting a little bit messy. And let's bring up the momentum also just to see what we got going on other than the 12-hour Stokes. Yeah, 12-hour RSI, we did see the 12-hour hidden bullish divergence play out. We identified that, I believe, on Saturday morning as potential, and that was driving targets up to 19.4 to 19.5. That's been met. So what now? Again, a little bit of profit taking. Sideways here is completely fine. Sideways and down is completely fine here. I sincerely would not even mind a move back down to like low $18,000. I mean, that would actually be quite nice. But the market doesn't always do what Krown wants it to do, as you've probably seen before. But again, it's long term good, short term sideways, probably a little bit of down. Historical volatility percentile on the 12-hour though. I want to see if this actually goes back into an expansion phase. Right now, we don't necessarily have it. I want to see that moving average get a positive slope. If that happens, then we probably are looking at a break this week. I would start to feel a lot more confident with that. Right now, I do think that it's very possible that we see a break this week. But it's certainly lining up for a break within these next 2 weeks, I'd imagine, of which we can go to the weekly on this chart. And I mean, there's nothing like majorly wrong with this with the structure right here. What about the bi-weekly? Yeah, bi-weekly looks good as well. And actually just opening up, Jesus Christ, man, that is some powerful shit right there. So fair enough. And do we close this one next week? I think we do. No. Yes. Next week. Okay, sweet. So it basically needs to continue here, like now, or else. Or no, it's not or else. But my point is that if Bitcoin is still trending on these time frames, we expect to continue by the end of this next week, actually. Anyways, okay, alrighty, let's go back. Did we cover everything from the 12-hour? Yeah, I think so. 12-hour Joule sell signal from CMEs. I do want to cover up on this one for the people who have the Joule and we're looking for this one. You got a pretty damn good sell signal right here that we identified on the 4th of December. That was not the ultimate high, but right here. This is typically what you do see on these sorts of moves. And that played out for a move all the way from 19.7 to 17.6. So not bad. $2,000 move right there. And when it comes back down to like a fib level like this, I consider that as pretty much all played out. I don't want any more of that. And so in this case right here, I would say that I would say that that's basically like a start to a signal and then an end to a signal for a time frame like that, and that's typically what I do like to see. It's not necessarily I wouldn't necessarily identify as picture perfect, but it's certainly one of the better ones, and these I really do like taking within this zone right here. Ideally, they come from a higher level, something like this, which I think actually might have gotten the ultimate high. No, it didn't actually. It got this high right here, which did produce a nice dump of about $3,000 before popping back up more than $3,000. So fair enough, does happen fast, but again, that is essentially what I'm kind of looking for when using that indicator. As it stands right now, you can see that there is hidden bullish evidence about to be confirmed on 12-hour. I would not trust this one on CME. It's just saying, mostly because we already see the same move kind of played out on spot, and that's just the incompleteness of having a market that trades professionally 5 days a week and unprofessionally 7 days a week. So there you go. What about the daily over here? Here's the next big thing as well. So daily Stokes are looking for a cross back onto the upside. I'm curious what price action would actually do it for them, and that would be literally closing anywhere above where we're at right now, $19,050. If that does happen, that's going to be a pretty damn powerful signal that Bitcoin's not just going to test back up towards that 19,550-ish level, but it's going to actually have a chance to break to the upside here too. So things are looking pretty damn good for this week, given a legitimate try to the upside. So fair enough, things are more or less good. And the hidden bullish divergence on the daily, I would say that the first part of that move certainly already played out. The second target would be 19.7, 19.8 region. And then I want to see things from there, and that would obviously come with another momentum shift to the upside here too, while putting in a higher low. I mean, that's going to be your structure. That's going to be your structure essentially being erupted to the upside here. I don't really like using more aggressive terminology like that, but we are on the TA nerd session right now, and to put it quite bluntly, things look very fucking good here. The only way that I really get bearish on this price action is if Bitcoin comes back down and especially closes any sort of a medium or high term time frame below $18,000 for right now. Though this is the signature that you would be looking for a formation like this to give a legitimate try to the upside, and then we start talking about 22 to 23,000. Once again, looking at the 2-day right here, what do we see? Again, 10 symbol probably does get retested. Guess where that is? 18.7. No problems with that. So a little bit of short-term down would certainly not put that out of the question. And hidden bullish divergence on the 2 day as well. I'd say that's easily played out. Next target would be 19.7 though, 19.8, and historical volatility percentile is continuing to expand on this time frame as well. So if that is the case in the context of an overall uptrend, again, all higher term time frames are bullish. All higher term time frames are bullish. It's not just the weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, and quarterly. It's like the daily, 2-day, 3-day, weekly, bi-monthly, quarterly, and beyond. It's definitely the yearly too. Anyways, onto the 3-day we go. What do we see right here? Yeah, I think 3-day actually gets the structure rather well. Again, where's the 10 symbol coming in around 18.7? I wouldn't mind a short-term move back down there, but ultimately I do think that this one gives another try to the upside. And here we go. Here we motherfucking go. All right, so this one saved specifically for the TA nerd session. Remember the 3-day historical volatility percentile signal that we've been referencing for a while now. This has really started to expand from this level. The fuck is that? Oh, Elsa's using the toilet. My bad. Now she's not just clanking fucking click clacks in the kitchen, but now she's dropping deuces in the old toilet there. All right, so have a good one with that. Anyways, looking at this area right here, yes, we did hit a 0 read and came in from multiple single-digit reads, of which now expanding from that level. I mean, this was not even a comparable signal right here. Yes, it was low, but it wasn't the culmination of a long-term signal in the same way that we're seeing right here. And even that produced about a $3,000 move to the upside. What is similar to the signal that we're seeing right here is actually this one right here that did eventually move to the downside from 10,000 to 4,000, but a phenomenal move on top of that. And also similar to this signal over here on this move from 4,000 to 14,000 after printing actually like a month or two of very, 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 very low signals. And then of course, end of 2018 right here on the major dump bola as well. Good morning. Good morning. She just reaches for the Red Bull and she's good to go. So get ready. All your email questions will be answered because Elsa's awake. And actually, that's how it does work. In case you are wondering, we do go to sleep sometimes, so we do apologize for like lapse in communication. But she'll take care of it, man. She's very capable, and she's also yawning as well. Anyways, yes, so this really does make me think that if Bitcoin does break to the upside or the downside, I mean, we're going to see a phenomenal move. If Bitcoin breaks to the downside, $14,000 is like a extremely likely target and probably and maybe even beyond. To the upside, things can get a little bit crazier. I mean, like I said, the last time that we saw a signal like this erupt to the upside, this was, you know, met by almost an immediate increase of 35%. And then over the next few months, it did travel up another 240%, to be fair. I'm not saying that that's going to be comparable right here. I just want to show that this is, you know, this is kind of a big deal. This is certainly a big deal. So putting all the puzzle pieces together, you know, I'd be more or less bullish on the higher term time frames. Short term time frames probably do come back down a little bit. However, hey, what's going on over there? She's having a laugh. Jesus Christ. Yeah, now people send fucking Elsa Discord drama shit. Guys, we're grown adults. We're grown adults. Please please be able to handle yourself. You know, the Discord's open to anyone, of course, but all we ask is that you're able to have adult conversations. So Jesus fucking Christ, man, we are not, and also you are not. You know, you don't want to be a babysitter as well. And I shouldn't even be saying you right now, because it's likely that you're just listening to this video and you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, and it's not even a big deal at all. It's just a few bad actors in the Discord, of which you know, we'll probably have to. I mean, you know, if people can't have like normal conversations while disagreeing with each other, then maybe this is not the best place. Maybe the internet's not the best place for that too. You know, it's okay to disagree with someone, of course, but you have to be able to have an understanding conversation when you disagree with someone. Anyways, I think we've kind of boosted through all of the nonsense here. Let's see, is there anything new on NASDAQ to be aware of coming into this week? Kind of similar to Bitcoin, short-term down, yes, probably does play back down towards like 12.3 or maybe even 12.250, but I'm not bearish on this long-term. Weekly could come down a little bit more aggressively here. You know what? Maybe I hold off on that statement. I don't know on traditional markets right now. I think a healthy amount of I don't know. Last week was easy to call new all-time highs. This week is less so. I'd hold off for now. No calls here. I want to see at least a day or two of price action this week. And this is kind of the first time for traditional markets where I don't feel compelled to make any major or just be mostly bullish. You know, yes, it still is an uptrend, but I'm sure that there's divergences all around right now. Actually, no, do we have divergence right here? 69 and 69.43. No, we don't. Fair enough. All right, fair enough. Well, in that case, I guess I'd still be cautiously bullish on the whole, but I would not be trading this right now. Hidden bullish divergence actually is possible here, though, is it? Yes, it certainly is. No, wait, what? Maybe just barely. Depending upon how. I need to see another couple of days of price action here. I don't feel compelled by this. What about Mr. Buterol? How you doing, Mr. Buterol? No, that's euro dollar. Fuck you, euro dollar. Go down, euro dollar. You gigantic bastard, euro dollar. That one's going up. God damn it. What about Mr. Buterol? Looks short term very constructive here as well. I'd actually be looking for a move back up towards 610 region. Again, same shit as Bitcoin, ascending triangle at the highs. Any sort of a move back above 618 or 617 or 617. I'm looking for, I don't know, where's the next long-term target on this one? Probably like $700 or 724 to 800. There you go. 724 on a weekly. Monthly, I think is like 820 or something. But yeah, monthly's just above 800. So not bad. You know, everything looks good on the higher term time frames here. Once again, I don't think that I really want to go through the whole fucking rigmarole though. Linky. I'd be looking for this one to pop back up as well. Short term, probably popping back up to like $14. Medium term, probably popping back up to 15.5. This looks like that was probably the next low right there. I'd only get bearish on this one if it takes out 11.5 to the downside, and then yes, I'd target 10 and a quarter once again. But higher term time frames looking okay here. Monthly still just charging its way up, looking good. All right, what else do we got? No Bitcoin parents today. Well, yeah, no Bitcoin parents today. I don't really want to look at them. Litecoin. What about Litecoin? What about my lights? Short term, Bitcoin moves the upside, 87 3/4. I'd imagine that $100 is like the next, target on just on a psychological basis. Yeah, somewhere right around there. And then above there, we got 135 or something, 130. Fair enough. All right. I think it's time to wrap this bitch up on Mr. Bitcoins. Okay. Alrighty, so Bitcoin, as always, want to reflect upon the higher term timeframes first. This is still bullish on basically all higher term timeframes, weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, and quarterly, as we've been stating for like the last, I don't know, the last few months actually, ever since Bitcoin broke 11.5 or 12,000. And on the short term timeframes though, does that necessarily mean that it's just going to be a green dildo party all the way to the heavens? I don't necessarily think so as it is right now. All lower term timeframe momentum oscillators are pointed southwards. We got 4-hour, 3-hour, bi-hourly, and hourly right here, all freshly crossing down. So what does it equate to? Likely a little bit of sideways here, and then I'd be looking for Bitcoin to probably pop back down and test somewhere around our next horizontal level, smack dab in the middle of our medium-term range, which would be right around 18,700, we'll call it, maybe a little bit below there. Now, if Bitcoin does break below 18.7, which I don't necessarily think it's going to do, but if it does, in my opinion, is irrelevant to that fact, then I'd be targeting to move back down to $18,000 base, fill the gap on CMEs, probably pop back up around there. However, do have to remember that Bitcoin is operating off of higher lows and higher highs in this case, and this is shaping up to be some sort of an ascending triangle at the highs, which is a bullish reaccumulation formation, which is rather nice and does produce the likelihood, or the more likelihood, that it is going to break to the upside overall. And if that is the case, then that would be confirmed by either a 4-hour dildo closure above 19,550, or you could also just say 19,600 if you want to just round it up there, or a daily closure above probably 19,450 to 19,500 does it as well. And then we could target moves up to, I believe it was 20,500 would be the next short-term target. Don't think that things would stop there though. I would be looking somewhere between 22 and 23,000 for the next kind of melt, and then perhaps a little bit of sideways after that. By the same token, to the downside, if Bitcoin does take out its current low at 17,600 on a 4-hour, or if we're looking at a daily, that would be 18,000 even about, then I would get bearish for a move back down, probably, a couple $1,000 to the downside. We're talking like 14,000, 15,000 overall. But for right now, I do remain higher term time frame bullish, short term time frame probably sideways and down. And then we'll come back to it a little bit later, and maybe even on the Twitch stream later today, we'll have a resolution on this. And with that said, I'd like to wish you the best of the best and the happiest once again. Take care, and until next time.